I'm here because I started this.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the action figure news, toy news, conspiracy news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interested you. And this week is a week rife with toy news, rife with conspiracy, as we're going to break down a few things. And one of the biggest conspiracies that really hasn't been talked about ever, and I'm going to break it in this very video. I've also got some news on possible San Diego Comic-Con Mattel exclusive. We'll talk all about that and a lot of other stuff in the toy news. But of course, we kick it off with a little bit of housekeeping. We're dangerously close to 30,000 subscribers here on this very YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, what the heck you're waiting for? We're going to do a big 30,000 subscriber giveaway when we do hit that, so stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll talk more about that next week. We'll see what happens, but make sure you do subscribe if you have not, and tell a friend. Tell a friend, and of course, Patreon. Of course, we are in the month of May, the May Patreon giveaway. The ultimate giveaway, the Ultimate Warrior Ultimate Edition. I will give this away to a Patreon member. Check out the Patreon, all that kind of fun stuff. But let's get down to business. Let's get down to it. Let's talk conspiracies. And with conspiracies, you know I had to bring a friend.
You ever wonder if they're watching your every move? Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it.
And that's exactly what I did. I did think about it, and I thought about a lot of stuff this week, and it was an interesting week. Hopefully you saw on the channel this week, I did unbox a quick unboxing of a Powertown figure. I had an opportunity, if I was willing to travel, if I was willing to keep all parties secret, if I would agree to a blindfold as I was going into the place, I was allowed to have a first-hand look at a brand new Powertown figure, that being one Verne Gagne, AWA Midwest wrestling legend, almost like a young Gage Octane really at this point, but Verne Gagne, I gotta check out the Powertown figure now. I didn't get to do my usual review. I didn't get to do it at my house. I didn't have comparison things like that. So I had to just kind of see what I had and see what they had there for me. So I did take a look at it, and I'm under strict details not to give out any names, anything else like that. It is really, at the end of the day, a total conspiracy. I think it really is. All the way around, it's a conspiracy. Me getting taken over there, me having to wear a blindfold. I said, really, a blindfold? And they said, yep. We're blindfold you when we take you into this room. We don't want you to see anything else. It was really kind of scary. I didn't know if I was going to come back with my life. Thankfully, I made it through. Some might say I was getting a little too close to the eagle's nest, but that's what you got to do when you're an investigative journalist. And I'm saying it right here. I did take a semester of journalism in college. I'm basically a journalist at this point. But definitely an interesting one. If you saw the Powertown figures, you know, that was a very good figure. If you saw that video, now, like I said, I didn't get to do all the bells and whistles of a normal review, but I gotta say, I was blown away by the packaging for whatever reason. I mean, the packaging was like this. I was expecting it to be like this for some reason. I don't know. I thought it was going to be more like an SH Figuarts, if you're familiar with those wrestling figure packaging from a few years back. That's kind of what I assumed it would be. It was far from that. I gotta say, beautiful packaging design on these, beautiful carding, a lot of hits being played right there at that table. Sure, why not? It was the table. But I liked a lot of stuff I saw right there. But it was definitely an interesting figure. I didn't get to take it through all the paces. The leg did not break off on me. I'm happy to report that. But we will unbox those. We will have full reviews here on the channel. And we are dangerously close to the end of May. So will we see the rest of these figures? Will we see them in our hands before the month is up, like Powertown has said? I don't honestly think we will. Now, it sounds like only 3 of the 6 figures were really shown. There was a convention last week in St. Louis that some of the figures were there, I guess being passed around, sold, things like that, and it was only the 3. So that really leads me to believe the other 3 maybe have just arrived. They haven't got to the proper channels yet. So as Jerry Reed always does say, we've got a long way to go and a short time to go. Jerry Reed, as always, is always right. I just don't think we're going to see those by the end of May. I'd love to be surprised. I'd love to see it go the other way. I just don't see it happening. But you know, Jesse Ventura always says,
no, this didn't happen. No, 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 no.
Jesse, what did happen was I did post up a short when I first got there and took a look at the Verne Gagne figure. I did post pictures on Instagram. I, of course, post a guerrilla marketing style review of the figure on my channel. But conveniently enough, Powertown did show some pictures of their shipper boxes, saying there is a difference between Series 1 and Series 2, or not Series 1, Series 2, the fixed figures and the old broken figures. They showed right there. Now, at the end of the day, it's just 2 boxes. I don't know what that exactly means, but I see the story they're trying to tell. It'll be very interesting. As we always say, the biggest conspiracy of all around here is what happens to the first series of product. The series of product that was a full ship of those coming over across the ocean, and they were all damaged, broken. Where do those figures go? What happens to those figures? And do we make sure we get the corrected figures in our hand? So a lot of interesting questions, a lot more questions about Powertown to come in the future. I guess we're going to see what happens there. I'm very excited to see the anonymous donor of that Vern Gagne figure, I have been told, does have Bruiser Brody in hand, so we may do the same thing all over again. We'll see what happens there.
Are you kidding me?
Jesse, I am not kidding you. This person has the Bruiser Brody, so we'll see what happens. But I am hopeful. Powertown is on our hands soon. I hope some of these questions get answered, but I think we're on the tail end of this conspiracy. That is the facts here. I think we're going to have them here hopefully in June. That's what my gut tells me. June, maybe for my birthday. We'll see what happens, but I think the conspiracy is on the tail end of the Powertown conspiracy. But that's not it. I blew the cover off another conspiracy this week. Are you guys ready for it?
You ever wonder if they're watching your every move? Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it.
Oh boy, here we go all over again, and we might have an even more powerful conspiracy in the wrestling figure game than we had with Powertown. Time will tell, but I was looking through, I was doing some of that investigative journalism. I called up Jesse Ventura, we talked it out, and I gotta say the next conspiracy on our radar here is, what about the Impact Wrestling figures? Yes, Impact Wrestling figures. Now, from the get-go, they showed us these renders, I want to say back in like November, December 2022. Then all of a sudden, let's call it March 2023, pre-orders went up, and it was the same renders. There had been no movement, no images, no production samples, anything like that shown to us. So we had a pre-order. It was a limited pre-order, as we know. I think we had 2, 3, 4 weeks. What is time, as we always do say, to pre-order these figures. However, what did it say, and what does it still say on the Impact site? Well, you guys, if you check it out, it does say shipping May of 2023. We are in the thick of it. We're at the tail end of May 2023. We've had no updates. We have had no extra pictures, nothing. The conspiracy is looming, and it's looming large right here with these Impact Wrestling figures. There is absolutely no way we're going to go from just rendered pictures to full realized product in our hands in the next week. I don't see that ever happening. I would love to be surprised by this. I would love to see this happening, but I got a very, very bad case that this is going to be one of those conspiracies we hear nothing about. May will pass. Who knows? Maybe videos like this, questions like this, may get some form of communication going. Not going to say anybody's going to watch this. That's probably moving the needle on that, but it is fun. It is fun to do these videos. But we're going to see. I don't see it happening May of 2023, but this is a conspiracy to the next level here. As they did take our money, they did say this is the time frame. Where does it go from there? I don't think we're going to have our figures. I wouldn't be shocked if we haven't seen any updates or anything like that. Who's to say this isn't going to turn into May of 2024? I am just very, very worried. I don't know how many people pre-ordered these. Of course, I pre-ordered them, but I don't know if there was a lot of hubbub, if a lot of conversation out there picking these ones up. I'm not exactly sure, but you know what Jesse Ventura would say.
Are you kidding me? No, this didn't happen. No.
Also know what Rob Halford would say.
Up on the red, cross on the green, never take a ride in a stranger's machine, and always make sure you're burning on turbo power.
So a lot of questions to be asked right there, and Jesse Ventura, he had some final thoughts on the whole conspiracy matter here.
I'm here because I started this, believing it even more now. And I want to be here. I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. And I want to be here when this passes into law, because this is accumulation of a vision that I had over 20 years ago, and now it's coming to hopefully fruition, whatever the word is, it's going to happen, hopefully.
And I think that is a huge move by Governor Ventura to really get a handle on these wrestling figure conspiracies, these renders we get from figure companies and they sit there for years, pre-orders that seemingly go nowhere, things like this. It is out of control, and Jesse Ventura, he's had enough. He has had enough, and he has taken it, as you saw in that video, he's taken it to the Supreme Court. That's what he's done. He's taken it to the Supreme Court. He is the voice of us figure collectors. He's going to get to the bottom of this, and laws are going to be enacted. Laws are going to be put in place. There's going to be no more of these shenanigans in the wrestling figure community. We're going to get our orders. We're going to get them on time. Jesse Ventura is going to make it happen. So a wild, wild time here with the Powertown and now the Impact Wrestling conspiracy theory figures. We'll see what happens. That's all we can do. We can just sit and wait. More to come here on this very YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that. And then a borderline conspiracy we're going to talk about. Where's Boss Fight Studios Legends of Lucha Libre Series 2? It's supposed to be up here about right now. We should have seen that. We haven't seen packaging samples, haven't seen any of that. I am very hopeful those come. Of course, Ultimo Dragon, Black Taurus, Vampiro, they're going to be in that set. So a lot of us looking forward to that one. That's another one that's kind of passed over its deadline. No talk, no nothing. I just don't understand these toy companies. Zombie Sailor, his Retro Series 2, where are those at? Those I feel should have been here by now. So there's so many figure companies that are, I get it. I get it's not easy, especially as a small company, getting these things out there. It's not always easy hitting your deadlines, but I am pleading with these companies. All these companies here, you say, hey, it's going to be a year. It's going to be 14 months. Whatever it's going to be, let's go a little farther. Let's say it's going to be a year. Well, guess what, guys? It's going to be 14, 15 months. That's what we're going to tell you. And then delight us as the consumer. Good news, we told you 15 months. Guess what? Month 13, here comes your figures. We're getting them here earlier for you. Don't make your customers question what you're doing, questioning if you're stealing their money, things like that, because I get those questions all the time. Is Zombie Sailor on the up and up? Is he on the up and up? Well, yeah, he's on the up and up. He's delivered product. He's done that. It's just timelines are what they are. But I think there's some overcommitment from some of these manufacturers, some of these littler companies, and they're not meeting the demands. And that's where Jesse Ventura, he's going to come in. He's going to get this all fixed for us. Fingers crossed. But Boss Fight, hopefully we get those figures fairly soon as well. Now, how about a little San Diego Comic-Con conspiracy? Now, I got a little picture sent to me. I'm not going to show it here. Sorry, guys. I am not going to do it. The conspiracy's coming over to me now. But last year, as you guys know, I was shown pictures of the Terry Funk Ultimate about this time last year, and I said to myself, what the heck? They're making a Terry Funk Ultimate? This can't be. There was a lot of questions with that. I wasn't sure what was going on. Well, then, a little bit later, we got the announcement, the Coliseum Collection Terry Funk Ultimate made a heck of a lot of sense. It all kind of clued together. The pieces fit together. But this time, I'm not exactly sure. But no idea what this is going to be for. But I do have a feeling it is for San Diego Comic-Con. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I know it's very vague. Nobody likes that. But on the old dark interwebs, the old dark black figure market, there are some pictures going around, or one picture in particular. And I'm not going to bring it up here, but it'll be very interesting if this comes to fruition. I think this could be a huge crossover action figure if this is coming to fruition, like I said. This could be a crossover for other people. This is something that's not just going to be for the wrestling community, I can tell you that much. And this is one of those ones that could be a little controversial. I can tell you, my grandpa absolutely hates this person. Hates him, and he would be just blasphemy. If he collected Mattel figures, he hates this person so much, he would say, I'm done with Mattel figures. So we'll see what happens. A little controversial, but very revered. It'll be interesting to see how this one goes over, if this is what this is, but I do think it will bring a ton of eyes from the outside of the wrestling figure community into the line, and that's not a bad thing if you're a company like Mattel. More eyes on the product means more money in the long run. So we'll see. More to come on that in the future, so stay tuned for that. Now we continue on with some more wrestling news this week. How about the Retro Corner? Of course, the retro figures, we talk about them every single week, and there's some news this week. We saw Zombie Sailor put out some teaser images, a little teaser video of course, Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors. Oh my gosh, take my money. Take my money, Zombie. I just want them in a consistent time frame. Get them to me a little bit quicker. Hopefully that's the case. Haven't went up for pre-order, anything like that. Like I said, still no word when we're going to exactly get Series 2 in our hands. But man, these Road Warriors look absolutely amazing. There's been a huge lack of Road Warriors, Legion of Doom figures in the collector's marketplace the last couple of years, and I'm hoping Zombie Sailor fills our retro need. And heck, while he's at it, let's get those ultimate size, elite size figures, Zombie. So I'm very excited for those. We'll see what happens from there. Hastel Toys coming back at it. Once again, another one. We've had a lot of pre-orders, but no figures in hand yet. Got to stop with the pre-orders till we get something. It's just, I don't think we'll have any issues getting these figures. I think they'll come to us. I don't think there's going to be any issues with that. It just sucks when you're paying for 6 pre-orders without a figure yet. That's not just picking on Hastel Toys, any of these other companies. It just gets old with pre-order after pre-order after pre-order with nothing in our hands yet. And it's one of those things, too, if your first figure is absolutely hot garbage, why did I pre-order these other ones? I was very disappointed. You got to have a pre-order, get a figure out there, make sure it's the quality people want, and then jump on those pre-orders, because if it's not, there's going to be a lot of people demanding their money back for some of those other pre-orders. But I have high hopes for this line. These figures look really good in person, in pictures, I guess we'll say, from what we've seen. But we got Mo from Men on a Mission. We knew that was coming. We got some clear images of him. But the big announcement this week with a little artwork action, Val Venus, another guy without figures for a heck of a long time. I think his last figure was probably, well, it was the Jax days. It was either the Classic Superstars or that limited edition box Ruthless Aggression figure. One of those two was probably his last figure. So it'd be cool to get him in a retro style, getting into some of that Attitude Era. Unfortunately, he is a jumper. Oh my gosh, he's got a little Jimmy Snuka going on there. Not the biggest fan of the jumper, as you guys know, but I can see why you'd want to put a jumper in the line somewhere. It's a very iconic pose for the old retro figures. Maybe just not a favorite of mine and probably a lot of viewers out there. We also saw Rush Collectibles, still another company we've been talking about for well over a year. No product in hand yet. Where's Zabisco? Where's Roadkill? Where's Jonah? Bronson Reed? We got to get those in hand soon. It's been a heck of a long time they've had our money, or my money, depending if they got your money or not. But they did show some pictures off this week of some of the carding for their brand new monster line. I love a good monster. You guys know that. I'm not sure I'm going to jump in on this line. There's only so many things you can collect. There's only so many finances to go around, let's be honest. So we'll see where this ends up going. We'll see if I dive in on any of these. But this Frankenstein looks pretty cool. Removable head with the brain comes out of it. I think that is a really neat feature. That is something a little bit different there. We also saw Nosferatu, old Count Orlok, I guess. It kind of looks like him. But definitely looking cool there. So excited for these. I'm going to probably end up admiring from afar, unfortunately. We'll see what happens, but definitely look cool. Definitely an interesting move, and I think it is a smart strategy because a lot of people like their retro figures. I think they'd like to have some things outside of the retro game. So we'll see what happens with that. Much more to come in that landscape in the retro style figures, that is for sure. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Stop the clock. Some late breaking news. I'm finishing up the toy news of the week, and I thought I'd mention this one. Of course, let's talk about the WCW Mattel Creation stage. Well, I think we've talked enough about that on the channel. If you're interested, plenty of videos about that, as you guys know. But an interesting one came through via Threadhead. Now, Threadhead, we've talked before about some of their soft good apparel for figures, things like that. Well, it looks like they have something for sale just around the corner. If you really wanted that WCW stage, well, sounds like they have a 3D printed one coming your way for purchase if that is your thing. I did ask the price point. It's not official yet. I think we'll see more in the next week or so, but we're looking around $200, it sounds like, for this stage. So much more to come detail-wise. Looks like it's going to have some lights with it as well. Not all the bells and whistles of the Mattel Creations one, that is for sure, but a heck of a lot cheaper at a $200 price point. But think about that a little bit. You know, you would have paid $400, got 2 Elites, or 2 Ultimates, I should say, plus all the bells and whistles. This one's going to be $200. And Threadhead, they're not Mattel, but they're not doing it to break even. They're not doing it to lose money. So you're around $200 there, probably shipping on top of that. You kind of got to ask yourself what you're looking for there. But a neat idea. It's one that's going to fill a niche in the marketplace. And I do like the creativity of things like this. And I do think in the future, we're going to see a lot more of this stuff as 3D printing technology gets more accessible to the average Joe, gets dumbed down, easier to understand. There's been some cool stuff like this. There's been plenty of G.I. Joe vehicles. We've seen Jabba's, not playset, the Jabba, the whole world basically for Jabba. We've seen things like that. We've seen a ton of 3D printed stuff, and I do think this is just the beginning. We're going to see a heck of a lot more of that stuff in the future, so stay tuned. But wanted to break in with that little bit of news. We got a bunch of Super 7 news this week. Super 7 coming with all kinds of stuff. Last week we saw a little bit of the weirdest, and we said, or I said in the video, what is this going to be? Reactions, Ultimates, both? Who knows? Well, this week they announced them as reactions. I guess I had a little sigh of relief, I guess, because if they were Ultimates, I'd probably jump in on these reactions. I know I'm not going to jump in on, but who's to say they won't have Ultimates in the future? So I guess we'll stay tuned to that one there. But I like the concept. I like the idea. Very similar to the Worst, and I really enjoyed those Worst figures in the Ultimate form. So we'll see if the Weirdest comes to Ultimates in the future. We also saw an announcement that kind of broke and got spoiled by Entertainment Earth last Friday as they kind of solicited these, but it looks like we're getting reaction figures from Dio. Oh, of course, Ronnie James Dio. Give him the old horns. Give him the old devil horns, old Dio. Dio, an all-time favorite of mine. If you've never heard Heaven and Hell and the Mob Rules Black Sabbath Dio years, oh my gosh, you were in for a treat. Check those out if you've never heard those. But we're getting Murray, of course, his kind of symbol there, and then we're getting Dio in reaction. I would absolutely love Dio in the Ultimate line. Man, let's make that one happen. Long live Ronnie James Dio. Of course, the anniversary of his death right around this time as well. So rip Ronnie James Dio, one of the all-time greats, one of the best to ever do it, no doubt about it. If you don't know your Dio, oh man, you are missing out. But speaking of heavy metal and music in general, Ghost. We got another Ghost Ultimate figure coming, and we're getting Papa Part 3. Oh, our third Papa figure in the Ultimate line. I'm still very nostalgic to Papa 1. That's probably going to always be my favorite because I came upon Ghost when they just had one song out. It came from Europe, and everybody was the buzz of the underground metal scene at the time. Now they're a huge band, tour in the world, all that. But there was a charm, there was a mystery, there was darkness around that first song they ever came out with. So I'm all in on Ghost. You guys have seen me unbox the other two on the channel. The third one will be no different. So if you're into Ghost, you're into Papa, you got to pick this one up. And once again, it's a little bit of 2-in-1 action, so you might need two of these in your collection. So take a look at that. Simpsons, we've talked Simpsons, and it's a heck of a delay between Series 1 and Series 2. We're in a little bit of a lull with Super 7 right now as far as Ultimate Editions, but there was an announcement in a toy magazine that going forward, the Simpsons line, it sounds like they're only going to have 3 figures per wave, and it's going to be the heavy hitters. I don't know exactly what that means. Knocking it down to 3, and we've seen this in some other waves from the Super 7 Ultimates, I don't know if it's them saying to the consumer doesn't have as much money maybe right now with inflation, everything else that's going on. They said, we're going to knock a figure back and try to make it a little bit more affordable at the same time for people buying the sets. Or is there another reason around that? Is there just a downright conspiracy? I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd go that far on this one, but it's very interesting to see. But they said they're going to be heavy hitters going forward. So do they feel that the response from the fan base was, you guys got way too deep in Series 1? I mean, Robot, Itchy, and Scratchy is extremely deep for your first series. But I kind of saw what they were doing. I just assumed. Now, you know what happens when you assume, as they say.
Because when you assume, you make an ass of you and me.
But I assumed they had the line for a very, very long time. That was the thing. So you put one heavy hitter character in, and then maybe some ancillaries, and you do that in kind of every single set for a little bit of something for everybody. But maybe they don't have the line as long as possible now. They're dropping down to 3, which could be for the purposes we talked about before, but then you throw in Marge, Lisa, Groundskeeper Willie, and you got some heavy hitters right there. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm all in. I absolutely love those Super 7 Ultimates. They absolutely blew me away, blew away my expectations in hand. Check out the reviews if you missed them, but those will be coming probably a year from now, a year plus from now. We'll see what happens there. We also saw a little preview here. We got Chitara, Super 7 Ultimates, glow-in-the-dark figure coming. Got to get the most out of those molds right there. And of course, you guys know when Chitara started running, she kind of glows. She had that yellow color to her. And Super 7 does a fantastic job with these glow-in-the-dark figures. So it's getting the most out of your molds. It's an ancillary figure. It's for the hardcore Thundercat fans. Wouldn't be shocked to see it a Super 7 store exclusive, possibly a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. We'll see what happens there. But Chitara glow-in-the-dark Ultimate Edition, have to expect the pre-order probably up next week for those keeping track at home. G.I. Joe Super 7 Ultimate Series 2. Sounds like people that ordered directly from Super 7 have been getting these in hand. Oh my gosh, get me the Flint. Get me the Flint. I'm a little nervous about these, but I hope these do ship fairly soon. I did order from Big Bad Toy Store. I did order from Entertainment Earth. I guess we'll see which one comes in first for me here. But I am so excited for Series 2 Ultimates G.I. Joe. I don't know if my heart can take this Flint not being a good figure. So we'll see what happens. Got to get the Flint figure. Very excited for that one. So we'll see what happens. But a lot of Super 7 Ultimate, a lot of Super 7 reaction news this week to talk about here. We got a few ancillary things to talk about as well before we do get into Album of the Week. DC McFarlane came with a few different announcements this week. We saw the Target Flash figure. Sounds like that's part of that Build a Cyborg wave, which is an interesting strategy. Like once every 3 months, a new figure for that cyborg, and it takes you through the year. Well, this one is going to be the Flash. I got to look at this a little bit closer, but this may be my Super Friends Flash. This looks really, really good. I like the extra head. We don't get that with McFarlane very often, so I may be picking up this Flash at the end of the day. It's going to be a Target exclusive. Stay tuned for that. We're also getting the most out of our molds, and we're, of course, diving into Batman with McFarlane Toys. We did see a Jokerized Batman, totally reuse that one. We saw another one of those at Target right now. We've seen it on my figure hunt if you've been following along on those. So they're going to that. We're getting that Batman Two-Face figure, and we're getting a Dread Lantern. So I'm not super familiar with these three figures here. It's just kind of really going back to that Batman well too much, but the Batman Two-Face crossover, Batman Joker crossover, Batman Sinestro crossover. I mean, there's so many different things going on. It's just absolutely crazy. So there's a lot going on with McFarlane at all times, especially in the Batman universe. But that Flash is going to be a day one pickup for me. All in on that Flash. Heck, my dad might want that Flash as well. So we'll see what happens there. NECA did a little live stream. I think it was on Instagram this week. I think that's where I was watching it. And Kevin Eastman, of course, one of the creators, did show off 2 new Mirage comics. We saw Battle Damage Shredder. Now, that went up for pre-order months ago at Walmart. Sold out just like that. I haven't seen or heard of anybody receiving that one yet, so we're going to see what happens there. But it sounds like Battle Damaged Shredder coming to the market sooner rather than later. And then the other one, I think this is the first time we've seen packaged images of this one. It is Splinter from the Mirage comics. So you need Splinter, of course, part of that Turtle universe. There's no doubt about it. And everybody loves a rat these days. If you guys saw my figure hunt video yesterday, you know all about the rats. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage, some may say. But it's all coming up rats here. It's coming all full circle into the toy news as well. But if you're a Turtle fan, got some stuff coming on there. And then, how about we talked about rats, now we're going to talk about monkeys. Figure Obscura, the Mythic Legions. I don't know, they release these quarterly. It seems about quarterly, maybe every 3 or 4 months, something like that. Maybe trimesters, I don't know, depending on how you want to break that down. But we did see the Monkey King. He did go up for pre-orders. You guys know I'm a sucker for hairy bipedal creature, so I did pick up one of these. It'll be interesting to see how this one sells. Not quite the Headless Horseman, I don't think, but the Monkey King, cool enough. But I would love to see Mythic Legions take a stab at a Bigfoot figure. Give me Bigfoot. Give me all the hairy bipedal creatures. I'm here for every single one of those. So there it is. That is the news of the week. Quite the news week. Rife with conspiracy. Rife with some surprises. Hopefully some of this stuff gets figured out. Some of these puzzle pieces come together, especially on Powertown, especially on the Impact figures. Let's get these figured out. And Boss Fight looking at you guys as well. I'm here for it. Let's get Governor Ventura back where he needs to be as well. So much more to come here on this very channel. But now let's dive into the album of the week. And the album of the week for me, it's got to be the brand new EP from Ghost. Pantomime is what it's called. Came out on Friday. A lot of the songs have been leaked already, of course, but a bit of a covers album for Ghost. And we talked about Ghost earlier in this video. I've been a long-time fan of Ghost. Some highs and lows, of course, in the Ghost catalog, like many bands that have been around a decade plus at this point. But I like what they did here. Now, they did cover a Genesis song on here. Jesus, He Knows Me, one of the all-time great Genesis songs. And I'm going to say it once again. I think that's the only good Phil Collins song of all time is Jesus, He Knows Me. Of course, Phil Collins being the lead singer of Genesis. Yes, get out of here. You'll be in my heart and in the air tonight. Nope, not for me. Not for me. But I do love Jesus, He Knows Me. That was a banger back when I was in elementary school. I remember that on MTV all the time. Love to see Ghost's interpretation of that. I gotta say, I still like the Genesis version better, if you can believe that. But we got some Iron Maiden Phantom of the Opera cover, which I think is really, really cool. Another all-time great Maiden song. Cool to see Ghost give a little love to Iron Maiden. I gotta think that will transfer some Ghost fans, maybe checking out Iron Maiden for the first time. If you've never checked out Iron Maiden, man, you're missing out as well. They also do a Tina Turner cover, and I had flashbacks. Longtime viewers of the channel know that when I was a little kid, when I was like little 5, 6 years old, and Tina Turner would come on the radio, I would immediately start throwing up. There was something about her voice and being in a car that made me just puke, and I had flashbacks back when I was hearing that song. So The more you know, kids, the more you know. But a very cool little EP, a little teaser before their next album. I'm here for that. I like the idea of it. I like an EP release better than just a random single like a lot of bands do. So Ghost playing all the hits and then some, really, at the end of the day. So there's the album of the week. There's the toy news of the week. What say you guys and gals out there in YouTube land? What are your thoughts on this toy news? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Like I said, we're dangerously close to 30,000 subscribers. And when we get there, we're going to do a giveaway. So be ready for that one, hopefully sooner rather than later. It's up to you. Make sure you do subscribe to this very YouTube channel and tell a friend. Don't forget to like this video. Always helps. As you guys know, give the old Hacksaw Jim Duggan thumbs up. And don't forget about Patreon channel for the Ultimate Warrior giveaway, but also early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, you name it, a heck of a lot of stuff going up on Patreon. Of course, we got new AEW figures, new Greatest Hits Series 2, all going to be up on Patreon this weekend. It'll take probably a week plus to get out to traditional YouTube, so check that one out. A lot of different stuff going on over there, so definitely check out the Patreon, your best way to support the channel. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for the toy news of the week and Governor Jesse Ventura, I am Kyle, and you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into the weekend.